More than 60 duels, not one defeat. In an age when a single duel usually ended in a corpse, one man walked away from every fight he ever picked. Japan would come to call him a kensei, a sword saint. But here is the strange truth. Almost everything the world thinks it knows about Miyamoto Musashi is legend, much of it invented centuries after his death. And the documented life buried underneath is somehow even stranger. He is born around 1584, as Japan tears itself apart in civil war. Even this is uncertain. Scholars still argue over the year, the province, even his real name. His father is a hardened martial artist. The boy grows up in a country where the sword is not an art, it is survival. At 13, he answers a challenge nailed to a wooden board. A grown warrior named Arima Kihei steps forward. The boy throws him to the ground and beats him to death with a staff. By Musashi's own account, this is his first kill. He is still a child. The Great Battle of Sekigahara ends in 1600, and the losing side scatters across the country. Musashi becomes a ronin, a samurai with no lord, no wage, no roof. He chooses the hardest road open to him, the warrior's pilgrimage. He will wander Japan for years, seek out the finest swordsmen alive, and challenge them to the death. One after another, they fall. In 1604, he comes for the Yoshioka, the most feared sword school in Kyoto. He challenges its master, then deliberately arrives late, letting the man's fury boil over. A single blow. The master's arm shatters. Humiliated by a nobody, he shaves his head and disappears into a monastery. The school sends the master's brother. Musashi kills him too. So they play their last card, a 12-year-old boy as figurehead and an ambush. Dozens of men wait in the dark with swords, bows, and muskets. Musashi springs the trap first, cuts the boy down, and carves a path out through the rest, a blade in each hand. That, the legend says, is the moment his style is born. Niten Ichi Ryu, two heavens as one. Long sword and short sword wielded together, when every other master fought with a single blade. Strategy over strength. The Yoshioka school never recovers, though their own records, it should be said, claim that Musashi lost. 1612. A bare island off the coast at dawn. Across the sand waits Sasaki Kojiro, the demon of the western provinces, and the long blade he calls the drying pole. Musashi keeps him waiting for hours, until the man is sick with rage. On the boat over, he calmly whittles a wooden sword from a spare oar, cut just longer than Kojiro's steel. They close once. A single strike to the skull, and the greatest swordsman of the age lies dead in the surf. If Kojiro ever truly lived at all, for even that some scholars now doubt. And then he stops. Feeling he has reached the very summit of the sword, Musashi lays the duel down. He serves in the brutal Shimabara campaign, then takes a place with the lords of Kumamoto. The deadliest blade in Japan becomes something no one expected, a quiet man with a brush. For Musashi was never only a killer. He was a painter, a calligrapher, a sculptor, a maker of sword fittings, a designer of gardens and castle walls. His ink paintings, among them a shrike perched on a withered branch, hang in Japanese museums today, studied as masterpieces. His belief was simple and ruthless. Master one way to its very end, and every other way opens to you. Old and ill, he withdraws to a cave called Reigondo. There, in the last 2 years of his life, he writes the Book of 5 Rings, 5 scrolls named Earth, Water, Fire, Wind, and Void. It uses the sword to teach something far larger than fighting. Timing, adaptation, how to read a man's intent before he has finished forming it. 4 centuries later, soldiers, martial artists, and executives across the world still study it. 7 days before the end, he writes one last text, 21 rules for walking through life alone. Then he dies as he lived, seated upright, one knee raised, a sword in his left hand, a cane in his right. They bury him in his armor, facing the road his lords will travel to the capital. The man vanishes into myth, which is exactly how he wanted to leave.